you tell me what to say?
Hi, I'm Dom Lewis.
Hi, I'm Dick Dickinson.
I'm Dick Dickinson. I compose a score for Dick Dickley, the Dick guy, the fall Dick.
And we're going to have some film music chats.
Yes. Do it to the camera
Into
now.
the camera. I'm Dom Lewis, I'm the composer of The Fall Guy, and we're going to have more film music chats with Film Music Media.
Well, Dom, thank you so much for having me at your studio again. So good.
Welcome back.
Yes, back at your...
Again.
Again. Again.
Seriously, sorry guys, it's me again.
This is take 2 of our chat for anyone.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Shh. We're not revealing behind the scenes. But we are here post-opening weekend of Fall Guy, so I want to say congratulations on The Fall Guy. So, I mean, I saw it. It's just an awesome movie. I just had a great time. I mean, it's fun. It's funny. It has romance. It has everything that you want.
It's got everything, right?
It's got everything, man.
Yeah.
It's well directed by your buddy David Leitch.
Of course.
Amazing Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. But to start off, before we jump into The Fall Guy, I was thinking about this. This is the 15th anniversary of Film.Music.Media.
Oh, wow.
15 years I've been doing this.
Holy shit. That's awesome.
And you've been doing this for quite some time too,
yeah.
as your career. Mm-hmm. And as I was thinking back, kind of like when I started doing this as kind of a side project, I'm curious, how often do you think back to Baby Dom coming out here, and do you ever think back of those early days and kind of look back and see how far you've come?
No,
No,
I don't. I think it's probably because I'm always trying to go forward. I'm always trying to get to that next step, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And I don't think it will ever be enough.
No.
Even when, if I get to the place that I wanted to get to, if you spoke to 10 years ago, Dom, it probably wouldn't be the same as me now.
Yeah.
But maybe I should. It's been wild. Moving 6,000 miles away from family and home. Unfortunately, terrible weather, so that was a plus. But yeah, no, I've been through so much in everything, not just work, in life. And I think that's a really good point. We should look back now and again.
And what triggered me is I remember you texted me this photo from Hans's star ceremony on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And you're like, look who's in the background. And it was me taking photos on the street.
Yeah.
We did not know each other at the time.
Never
we
met.
had not met, and that was my first summer or fall. I think it was in the fall, like in LA, like my first few months in LA. And I just remember seeing online that Hans was getting a star ceremony, and I had the day off work. I was still working in a movie theater as a projectionist.
That's right.
So I didn't have anything to do, and I was like, I'm gonna just go down and take some photos. And I had just kind of started Film Music Media. I'm like, it's something fun to put on there.
That was so weird.
Yeah.
Flicking through a photo, because you can go to whoever texts you and go to like info and the pictures that you've shared.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, what what is that? And then there you were. Crazy.
Yeah, I'll put it up on the screen. We can show it.
Yeah. A very different looking me, that's for sure.
And me, yeah.
Yeah, well, I had hair. You still have hair.
I still,
Yeah, you've got a good set of hair.
I know. I got lucky with those jeans because I have a lot of friends who are already wearing hats and.
Oh dear.
No, but you wear the Guy Ritchie gangster look very well.
The fat Statham. Yeah, no, I wear it well.
But so you don't look. Do you ever listen back to your old stuff? Do you ever like go back and like, let me check out what I did on this? Like, do you check back like on let me see what I did on Freebirds or what I did on like,
Not intentionally, but I did listen to Freebirds recently.
Yeah.
And kind of was like, oh, that's not bad. Back before I was jaded, I was actually like really trying hard and trying to impress lots of people. But I think also with that one, I did it at John's place.
Yeah,
so there's like the John Powell.
You're absorbing his.
Yeah, well, not absorbing, but you sort of feel pressurized if he's kind of walking around that you want to like bring in your A game. And also it's my first one. I just wanted to like really go for it. So I think if I watched the movie again, I probably feel that I was overwriting.
Yeah.
But as a soundtrack, I was like, oh, it's not bad.
And kind of rewinding, just looking back at the past a little bit, when you finally kind of moved out of John's place and you were at Remote Control for a bit and you left Remote Control, and once you had your own space, how did that change your writing? When you didn't have kind of that village kind of vibe of people all around all the time, and you could always pop in maybe to Matt's, hey Matt, check this out and stuff like that. Has it changed a bit, like the way you write and the way you kind of approach things, or not really?
I'm not sure. I don't. I mean, that has obviously changed, and I miss that a lot.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to Dave Fleming about that last week, saying that, you know, that vibe of just popping in on someone and seeing what's going on. And, you know, I think he feels the same thing. Now Hans is spending most of his time in London, and there's not that many people around at his level, you know, at remote. That culture's kind of changed. So, yes, it's probably changed.
Yeah.
When I initially moved out, you know, it was like me and my little brother Danny, so I kind of still had it.
That's true, yeah, Danny.
Because, you know, that was before he was married, and his quest to, like, be a film composer, and, you know, so we were together all the time, and, like, you know, not just in the studio, like, we'd go get dinner, and we were hanging out all the time, so we had that. And he's super talented, so I felt comfortable, like, hey, what do you think of this?
Yeah.
And then obviously he started doing additional music for me, and so I'd be going in, he'd be like, oh, is this all right? And so I kind of had that for a while, and it wasn't until we moved, it was like, I don't know how many months, well, it was just before COVID when he moved out. So, yeah, I would say that the last year or so, 2 years, has been the first 2 years I didn't really have that trusted ear around to be like, can you come and tell me if this is rubbish, or what's going on here? So it's sort of changed the way I do things, and I'll print MP3s and actually send them to my sister, or send them to someone that I really trust, or you know, a Dan Pinder or a Jack Dolman, whether they're on the project with me or not. I'll send them things and go, what do you think of this? So it's still there, it's just not as fucking convenient. You can't just pop next door and go, hey, what do you think of this? But I'm still doing it. Because I think if you ask anyone, the need for that, the need for collaboration. And obviously Dave's collaboration is, David Leitch, that is so great that I can sort of do that with him. As opposed to, you know, another colleague who's a film composer, because I trust his musical sense so much. Like, I'll know if it's not great, because he'll be like, let's go that way a bit. So
we can talk about Dave. I mean, he's for anyone who doesn't know, he was one of the most prolific stuntmen in the industry for most of his career, and became a filmmaker with Chad, who did the first John Wick, and then Chad kind of took the John Wick franchise, and Dave is doing his own thing with his own features, and you did Bullet Train together, which was fantastic. And so now this is your time. You're returning to work with Dave again. So what was the dynamic, I guess, versus Bullet Train versus now? Was it easy to just pick back up and kind of shorthand, or was it still kind of like, here's my creative partner, we're going to sit down, tackle this, we have to dissect it together type thing?
In short, it was extremely different, because Bullet Train, we were in the middle of the pandemic. You know, they did it all on the Sony stage, so he was kind of around but not around, but more available to sort of bounce ideas off. And with this one, he was filming in Sydney, so you've got the time change, you've got all of that, and obviously a much different way of filming a movie, lots of different scouting, location scouting, and moving from location to location, and just being all over Sydney. So, you know, the last thing you want is like, oh fuck, Dom's calling. No, I don't want to talk about music right now. I've got to go film this massive action sequence. So that was very different. It didn't change my process in that I still just like spat out sweets of what I thought should be happening. And this is before I even saw a frame again. Same as Bullet Train. However, the outcome was not as successful on Fall Guy.
But is that your process usually, if you do have that time where you're on a project early enough, is writing suites and before filming, if you have that opportunity?
After script stages, that's what I mean. He would say he would want me to do that. You know, and then I was sending him stuff, and he calls me the mad scientist in the lab. And I had this vision of sort of, I don't know, I had this vision of like 70s, 80s kind of, not yacht rock, but like, I don't know, I was trying to buy into the Fall Guy TV show a little bit, but I didn't go watch it. I didn't reference it in any way. I was just trying, you know, with the script, just trying to think of stuff to come up with, and it sort of did go down that 80s route to a point where I would send stuff, and then some of it actually went in the assembly cut, then obviously he got back from Sydney and the studio started, getting involved, and everyone was like, we don't want 80s. Which I still think was a bit of a shame, because I think it would have been really cool. Not to say that the score doesn't have any 80s about it, but it wasn't like 80s,
like Stranger Things, like 80s.
No, it was very synthy. It was very a la Faltermeyer, very really 80s.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to be bold, and that's what Dave's about. Like, he wants you to go be bold or go home.
I know he's a very stylized director.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he came down here. He sat where you're sitting right now.
Yeah.
And he was like, I love it. I really do, but I think we can try and push it somewhere else. I think we can bring it more into 2024. And I'm still trying to figure out what's going on. I mean, he even said to me, tell me to shut up.
Yeah.
If you really believe in this, tell me to shut up. And I kind of went away and I reflected and I kind of went, I am kind of imposing my will on this because I'm so in love with the 80s anyway. That's my go-to.
Yeah.
And it's not that it didn't work, but I think in him finding his tone, they had to edit Ryan's performance, and there were certain elements of it that were too goofy, so he wasn't cool enough to kind of carry Colt Savas the way they wanted him to. And once they did that, we then returned to this idea of Kiss being his theme, which had happened on the dub stage of Bullet Train.
Really?
We spoke about that. He was like, go listen to Kiss. If you don't know much Kiss, go check it out. And obviously I knew Kiss was. And the idea being cool, kitsch, perfect harmony of the two.
Yeah.
And he was even like, if you can think of other bands that do that, then let's check out those too. And we literally couldn't think of any other band that is that blend of it's theater. It's crazy.
I mean, Kiss, they get credit for taking rock and turning into a spectacle. And
we went to the Bowl. Dave took me to the Bowl. As like a rap gift, and it's just
so you were able to catch their tour before it finished, like their final tour?
The Bowl, it was and like insane seats. I mean, you could almost touch Paul Stanley. It was unbelievable. I'd never seen anything like it in my life.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's crazy.
So what was so for people who've seen the film or check out the soundtrack, I Was Made for Loving You became kind of the central kind of core theme, the song that kind of carried through your score as well. How did that? Why that song? What kind of led Dave? Was it Dave's decision? Did you guys come to it together? Like, when did that song kind of make itself a part of the process?
I'm not sure if it was Dave or if it was Dave and Ryan. I know that it was in the script. It was in the first version of the script I read. It was like, Drive Off Into the Sunset song.
Right.
As the credits roll. So it was always in there.
So and then part of the DNA of from the very beginning.
Yeah, and even in that first script, they was it the first date or they met? I think it was a first date at a Kiss concert.
Right.
So the original idea was, let's have the whole score be different Kiss songs.
Yeah.
That relate to their relationship, and we can work with Kiss and da. And that didn't happen. But after I'd gone off on my little exploratory mad scientist route and then tried to figure things out, we sat in the edit bay at Universal, and Dave just went, I can't not have Kiss as my North Star. It just keeps going round in my head. It keeps knocking on the door. So can we try and figure something out?
Yeah.
So then I had to go away and be like, okay, this Colt Savas theme, the ghost of Kiss is kind of in his head as he's doing all these cool stunts, as if he's kind of singing it to himself as his theme. And that's when it twigged. I did the scene where he drives away from Jodie, drives to the harbor, climbs up the steps, and then into Tom Ryder's apartment.
Yeah.
And he heard that and he went, yeah, that's it. Because I was also, I kept onto the Fall Guy, kept hold of the Fall Guy theme that I'd written.
Right.
And it was kind of actually very similar chords, which I sort of did intentionally. So they were easily melgeable.
Yeah.
And that was like 2 months in though. That was a long way down the process.
Yeah.
So we weren't in this situation where we were in Bullet Train, which, he was playing on set. It was in the cut.
Right.
As he'd finished filming, getting very attached to stuff. So, very different process.
Yeah. So, as a composer, I know some composers, when they say, like, we're going to use somebody else's material and it's going to be part of your, people are like, oh man, like, but did you see it more as like, as a mad scientist, like, how can I take the DNA of like kind of these iconic riffs and rock riffs and kind of build it into the structure of the score? Like, what was that process like for you? Was it fun? Like, I mean,
yeah. A challenge.
Yeah.
Like, really hard.
I'm sure. Because it's,
because it's so iconic and it's such a thing.
Right.
And it wasn't like, I mean, we did end up doing a cover of it, but it wasn't like just do a cover of it. It was like take the elements and use it as leitmotif.
Right.
So, yeah, it was weird at first, but it was a really good challenge. I wasn't sitting there going, oh, I'm not getting to do my theme. It was like, it was a cool thing because, the way Dave describes it, it's like, I can't really think of any other score that takes an existing song. There are scores that have songs made for the movie and then obviously, the Titanics and everything else.
Right.
Apparently that kind of happens in Argyle, but I haven't seen it, so I don't
Or
know.
James Bond or something like that.
No, I know, but isn't there Beatles stuff in Argyle? I haven't seen it, but probably not to the extent that this is like bashed over your head. Like, here's the theme, guys. It's how it's made for loving you. So we just all got very excited about it, and rather than being like, I embraced it because I wasn't gonna win. So no, I think that's an example of the trust that we both have with each other. Like he knew I could do it justice, and I knew he was onto something. So we just go with it.
Right, and I think you did an amazing job because even though that it's very iconic, but the fact that, because we don't hear the original song in the film, it's the cover only, right?
No, we get it at the beginning.
Oh, we get it at the beginning, right?
In the stunt montage.
Yes. But it's funny, I already
and the end, sorry. Bookends.
It bookends it. Okay, but see, even during the movie, because when you have that cover play during that, there was a scene where the cover plays, and it's a wonderful cover that Youngblood and you did, and you kind of built it into the score a little bit during that, I think Act 2 or something like that. It pops up, right? Yeah. It's literally everything. Yeah.
It's Kiss, it's my Fall Guy theme, it's my Love theme, all happening with each other.
And it all feels right. I don't know. It never pulled me out of it. Like when you heard even if you did like direct quote of the riff or anything like that, it never was like, oh, there's Kiss. It was just like I was in it. Yeah. You're in it. So, and I think it just worked really well. And it feels part of. I don't know. It feels like you've like made a baby with Kiss. You got to like mix your DNA of your writing style because it's a very Dom score. Like it's just a fan of your music. It's a very Dom score.
Yeah. I mean that particular section was the hardest one to crack. It was in excess for a long time, and to the point where it had been cleared, it was going in, and fortunately, and not to say that everyone loved it, but it worked and it was working for people. Ryan didn't like it. I fucking hated it. And I fought and I was fighting with the wrong material. And then Chris Criati and Youngblood did their cover away from everybody.
Right.
And there was a section at the front that was slow with just a piano.
Yeah.
And then it went off into the big rock stuff. And I can't remember if it was me or if it was Dave. He was like, throw it over the beginning. Throw it over the beginning of his telephone call. And it was like, I saw his eyes go, okay. Another chance to bring it all together.
Yeah.
So I took that material and I rolled with it, taking stems and then like embellishing them and big orchestral stuff and then putting my theme in there and the Love theme. And during the chorus of the do-do-do-do, I've also got the Love theme as BVs behind it.
Yeah.
So it's all just doing this.
Yeah.
Which I think is like Dave's dream, to have everything just like work in tandem like that.
Yeah, beautiful seamless thing, and it works with all the needle drops in the score
in
the movie as well.
Right.
And you have some amazing songs as well, but you also wrote original songs.
Yeah.
So
can't help myself.
I know what you did on Bullet Train too, and they're awesome songs. You got a love ballad, you got some, really fun poppy kind of like old school stuff.
Yeah, the love ballad was him calling me from Sydney going, what if we did a traditional film love ballad, super like iconic love, like a la, Top Gun type thing, a la Karate Kid. And it's got to have the lyric falling in it. Cool. Yeah? Okay, bye. And then it was like, okay. So I went away and I wrote Waiting for Love.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's my jam, and thank you for saying that. And I tried to get it in the movie so much. It was too on the nose. It was too nostalgic.
Yeah.
Again, like me trying to do an 80s score.
Yeah.
That was like,
But you got the end credits, which is great.
I did get the end credits,
Yes.
and that is pretty much because of Dave and Kelly. They fought for it to go in the end credits.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I don't know. I'm one of those people that loves kind of embracing a bit of the melodrama, a little bit of the cheesiness.
Yeah.
Like I love just like, I'm a syrupy, sensitive guy.
Yeah.
Let it just like pour it all over me.
Let's get swept up in it.
Yeah, let's get swept up.
For sure.
Take my hand, take me on a journey.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm here. Take me. Like
The whole process when Dave liked something or it was working, we just sort of be like, movies. Like we just like that was our catchphrase of the Fall Guy. We'd be like, yeah, movies.
which is like the catchphrase of the whole movie too, because anytime they're quoting movies, they're like Last of the Mohicans.
Yeah,
like,
right, exactly. So it was like he plays something, we'd be like, yeah, it's cool. I'd be like, yeah, fucking movies. He'd be like, yeah, fucking movies.
And that's what I love about the movie. It's a love letter to cinema, it's a love letter to stunts, but it's also just like it feels like a movie that you would have found like either like again, like early 90s, maybe late 80s, like a Bird on the Wire type thing where it's just like a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Just like, and it's fun, stylish. You got two, beautiful stars and just,
I know, and their chemistry is unbelievable.
the chemistry is on point.
So that makes it easy.
Yeah.
When they're on screen, it's really easy. And that's why just those chords, pretty much.
Yeah,
From
you
the
love
beginning
them.
of the
I love
song, adapted those in to be this like, stereotypical love theme for them. But that's what they needed.
Yeah.
Because that's the love story. So I was really glad that song just wasn't a wash and it was just like tagged on in the end. 'Cause it actually means something. Like that DNA is all the way through the movie.
Yeah, but also for people who've seen the film, I love how like in the first act the score, the love theme is almost used for comedy, and the quick cuts and the music cuts and they kind of like
when he takes his helmet off.
when he's like, I'm going into my speech, and
Yeah.
you're like playing into it's almost parody, but not quite where it doesn't like make fun of really the music or anything like that. But then when you play it later and it's played like for real, like he's really emotional, it works,
right?
Yeah,
On the Loudhailer sequence,
yeah,
where he's like, I'd love another chance.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's bad to say this, but even now I watch it and I'm like, I fucking nailed that scene.
Yeah.
Like that hits.
Yeah,
that really hits.
It does, and it's like when I love how and just I think it's just a testament to just the tune that you came up with, because it works. Yeah, it triggers something like I've seen this in a movie before. I know how they use music to manipulate you, but then here it is, and it's working actually how it's supposed to, organically, and it just makes you feel all the emotions.
To be fair to Dave, he did say that on the phone.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, I want people to feel that they've heard it before. Obviously they haven't. It's like, I want that feeling for the song.
But it's still, and then, I mean, the finale, when you bring everything together towards the end and all the themes are just like working together with the Kiss stuff, and you're reprising during the big action finale. I mean, it's just like...
That was so much fun to do.
The way you bring the orchestra in, like, it was beautiful.
And I wanted, like, the first version of that we mixed, it was so... Everything was going, and it's like on its own was like super adrenaline, and it was cool. Yeah. And then we put it in the dub, and it just had to be turned down because you've got all those elements, the sound effects, the dialogue, everything's going on. There's fucking tons of explosions going on. Yeah. And so I remixed it. I remixed it for it to be very solely like pushed by the orchestra, fueled by the orchestra, and the difference was insane. It really just lifted all the emotion out of that in a good way, like pulled it to the surface. Yes. The strings are driving, everything's driving, so you didn't need that over like the whole way through. Yeah. It's still there, and it's still giving it the sound, but relying on the orchestra in that sequence, for me, like really elevated the musical experience.
Yeah.
Because we had two dubs. We had the dub before the strike and the dub after the strike, and so I got it for the second one, and the difference was crazy.
Yeah,
like it still worked, and you're still like, it's dance. Yeah. But the second one was like, oh, whoa, I'm getting emotion and story and everything as well, not just adrenaline. No,
it was, and you can feel the shift because the music kind of would pop in perfect places throughout the kind of film, and you navigated the needle drops super well, and you hit those great story beats, and then it kind of just was all, you're like planting the seeds to move towards this big final act. Yeah. And then when you just get to like just open the doors. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Here is everything, and it was so well made to the edit and the structure of it. And I love how you build that. I mean, you just build the whole thing. It's like a 5.5 minute, amazing thing.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is, you mentioned edit. Like I can, with that collaboration with Elizabeth and with David, I can be like, can you give me a couple frames? Like I did, like it's not, I can't do the conform because I need that little bit for the tune. And they're like, yeah, cool, all good.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So
Within reason. Like same thing happened with the Wolf on Bullet Train. Like the collaboration is just so great with those guys. It's not just like, no, make it work. Oh, okay.
Especially on a movie like that where I'm sure the edit is changing constantly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It
especially with
changed a
action.
lot.
Yeah.
It changes a lot. And they're always trying to get it, like the studios are always like, get time out of it.
Yeah.
It's too long, get the time out of it. So, I understand the battle when they've
Yeah.
got to get rid of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm always like, no, not that bit. That bit's my favorite bit. Can you put that bit back? Take it from somewhere else.
Move it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Let's talk about. I want to talk about the different songs that you wrote. So we talked about the Love Ballad, but talk to us about the other songs you wrote. What are the other songs, original Dom songs that are in The Fall Guy?
There's Unsung Heroes that was written for the credits with Dave, actually.
Oh, wow.
Co-written with him. And, just in the vein of shining a light on the stunt community.
Yeah.
It's a little antagonistic maybe, but it's in fun.
Yeah.
Just like a driving, cool, throwbacky song, rock.
Yeah.
60s rock, and then I switch the channel halfway through and go into some crazy, stupid thing, a la Bullet Train. And actually, in the movie, you hear someone like a little spiel of the history of stunts and where they like Keaton, Lloyd, Chaplin, they were all stunt guys.
Yeah.
In this sort of transatlantic voice. So that was fun to do. So there's that song that's just like super rocky. I got to like rock out and play guitars and sing. Dave and Kelly just kind of.
Yeah, you did the vocals.
They allow me to just, fill up my unfulfilled dream.
So was you singing on all three songs, right? Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Yeah. And then the third one that didn't make anything really. It made the outtakes. Wherever they will appear.
Yeah.
It was originally for a scene that got cut that was a chase. Ryan's chasing this guy. And,
yeah.
It's loads of cool parkour and like through a warehouse. And it was sort of like they had these images of almost like Nintendo-y images of like games and things and like jumping over stuff and almost like a la Donkey Kong stuff. And he's seen unicorns. And it was just supposed to be fun.
Ain't No Galaxy, which is...
And which I did very early on. So obviously you can hear in that, it's very 80s.
Very.
So I still had that hat on at that point.
Yeah.
But I just felt, it's got the theme in it. It's like, it feels like Fall Guy. Obviously it doesn't really feel like the rest of the score, but you can still kind of see where I was going with it.
Yeah.
So I thought, fuck it, I'm putting it on there, and no one kicked back. So
I'm glad because
it's on there.
It's an awesome song. I've been driving around to it all weekend.
Thank you. Yeah, my sister was listening to it for the first time today, and she was like, "Yeah, this is fucking cool.
Yeah,
all right, chin." And like when the changes time, she was like, "Oh yeah, this is fucking cool." So that's always nice. She's biased, obviously, but
but you can. I mean, and I also love hearing you have fun. Like I can tell when you're having fun with something, and like you're having such a blast. Like I can tell. Like,
yeah. Yeah, I think Dave and Kelly are probably getting bored of me pushing my 80s agenda on them. Like, every movie, I'm like, what about this? They're like, I like it, but it's not going in. So maybe one day we'll get to do something 80s, I don't know.
Well, speaking of vocals, I do want to bring up because you got a set of pipes on you. You can sing.
Bless
you can
you.
write songs. You can sing songs. But also you've used your voice as an instrument throughout your scores. It kind of become a little bit of a trademark of yours, whether it's chewing in a good way. Not in a bad way.
Shut up, Dom.
No, I love hearing when you use it as a vocal texture, or whether you're just humming a melody or using it. And you've done that. You did it in A Violent Night. I mean, you've done it in Peter Rabbit. You've done it. I mean, I think in everything.
You won't shut up.
But but it's funny because now when you had to do for the Fall Guy, of course you have to do the do do do. How long were your do sessions?
My doo sessions. Well, some of it's me and some of it's Youngblood.
Yeah.
So after we did the cover, I said to Dave, I was like, why don't we try and get him on as much as this as possible? So it's like the score has that homogeny to it. It's his voice as opposed to mine. I ended up being in there. But so my doo sessions, I don't know. I was constantly doo-dooing.
Just doo-dooing all over the place.
all the time. And then I would take it and make it into an instrument so I could pitch it down and like mess with it. And there's a lot of textures and stuff that you're like, is that doo-doo-doo?
Yeah.
But it is, but it's all like fucked up and messed with. So I couldn't give you a time on how long they were. But it's just easy for me.
Yeah.
Everything I write is with my voice, really.
Yeah.
Obviously, I can't sing chords with my voice. But any melody that I do, I spend my life singing into either recording video of me on a piano or singing into voice memos or in the car, like, oh, I've got an idea, quick, record it.
But when does it I think the opening track you have some of your vocal textures and they're like doot doot. Like
that's a little bit of me, but that's D Clay.
Okay.
Okay. So the initial idea was like, I don't just want this to be the Dom Lewis show again.
Yeah.
So let's get Dee involved. She's got the perfect voice for it. And I came up with that texture, which I did the scratch obviously, and then she recorded it in Abbey Road.
Oh, nice.
So we did all those kind of things with her, and then she appears again when they're on the dock, and the tune comes in with those hums. I can't remember if I'm layered in there as well or not. I probably am, but it's predominantly female voice because I wanted it to be the voice of Jodie essentially.
Yeah,
like
because
calling to him, like
driving
she's
him.
always there, kind of thing. So that's good that it's not just me.
Yeah, no, it is good. Well, when you're writing and do you know right off the bat that you want to use some sort of vocals here, whether it's you or somebody, or do you find out later like, oh, I could add that here, that'd be perfect now? Like,
I'm always trying to get them in.
You're trying to get them in, like,
and not for some like fucked up SAG reason.
No.
I just feel that
I
think that my early career I was very much put off doing vocals.
Yeah.
And it was like a has-been thing to do. And I was always like, oh, but can I at least like try it? But it was always like, no, don't use vocals. So now I guess it's sort of rebelling against that. And also, you use what you've got.
Yeah.
So like,
but you don't.
What will it be today? Voice or cello? Because that's about it.
But you don't use it in the traditional sense. Like I know you were talking about, there was that time, especially after Gladiator, where you had Lisa Gerrard you had Elizabeth Scott, you had all these like kind of big.
Yeah, and I think it was straight after that time where it was like,
where people were like, it's a lot. Like
doing it again,
But the way you're doing it, it's not doing it in that sense. I mean, you're using it as like really cool rhythmic stuff. Like I love how like Daniel Pemberton will use like breathing or kind of like I mean, you have some of that too.
And I think it just brings you to it, and also it's just a really cool way of riffing.
Yeah.
And most of the time I intend on swapping it out, but I mean, I'm fortunate enough that Dave and Kelly actually like my voice and they keep me in as much as possible. But it is that thing, you go to what you know.
Yeah.
And on what you were saying about using it in a different way, like Dave's a very needle drop orientated guy.
Yeah.
So even when I'm doing stuff like suites and ideas and throw shit against the wall stuff, I tend to sort of try and make it into mini song vignettes anyway. I have to talk to him about it. I actually haven't talked to him about it, but I feel like he's able to get the sense better if there's a lead vocal.
Yeah.
I may be projecting. But that's why a lot of my suites end up being kind of vocal dominant, especially on this one. There were lots of like weird little songs, that 80s songs, go figure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I can get into the vibe quicker.
Yeah. Was finding the tone of the Fall Guy challenging? Because you said they were also really finding Ryan's performance in the edit. I mean, he tried maybe goofy takes or maybe more serious takes. So, and the balance of comedy and action, and it never too goofy, it's never too cheesy, it's never too in one way. And if they were finding that in the edit, when did you kind of find the tone musically? Or did you find the tone early? And
No, I didn't. No. The tone was the hardest thing.
Yeah.
I was constantly being told it needs to be cool, and I was looking at the screen going, I'm not seeing that like overt coolness yet.
Right,
I'm
yeah.
seeing like this awesome guy who's just like super funny and keeps getting the rough end of the deal.
Yeah,
He's just trying to help out, and he's just getting in bad situations.
Yeah.
So, that it was hard for me to be like, okay, and I would get the references from people and be like, I'm not seeing this. How do I? So it was confusing for a while.
Right.
Until kind of Dave got back from Australia and was able to we were able to sit together and figure it out. And that's why, cool, kitsch, goofy, or whatever the hell you want to call it, that blend
Right.
of Kiss just worked for him.
Yeah.
Because it allows for the comedy, it allows for the adrenaline, it allows for emotion and storytelling. So it was that perfect blend. Yeah, it was definitely hard though.
Yeah.
I remember I went to a Laker playoff game that Dave and Kelly invited me to, and we were standing in the suite, and we were just like, it was halftime or whatever, and we were talking about it, and Kelly was going, God, this one's difficult, isn't it? Like, how are we going to solve this thing? And we were talking about it, and we were just like, workshopping ideas on the spot, like this could be this, and we were talking like, what's the motive, and what's the, where do we go with it? And this is still quite early.
Yeah.
And it was at that point we started talking about the end sequence. And like, what does that need to be? Because they'd put in a bunch of like adrenaline, guitar-y stuff. Like it just carried on from that, stunts and that whole thing with the car beforehand. And it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
And Dan and I were sitting there watching it going, it's not working. So then cut back to Kelly and I talking about it. She goes, it needs like the melodrama. It needs to be like, like an old school, like why don't we try something like big orchestral old school and just like throw caution to the wind because it's so ridiculous.
Yes.
Like let's embrace it. And yeah, we were just workshopping that, and then lo and behold, you go look at the end of the movie now and it's like, it's crazy.
It is insane. But in the best way possible. I mean, it's a movie being filmed within a movie, so you have all that layer of it. You have people in costumes and alien costumes and people. Yeah. You have a giant helicopter sequence.
People jumping out of the helicopter.
You have the briefcase MacGuffin, the whole thing. It's just fun. It's just so great.
Crazy, and it keeps like it stops, and then we're going again, and it's like, and we're going again. So it's like 4 different tiers. So the only way to do that was to embrace the melodrama.
Yeah.
And that's why the orchestra works so well, and that's why I did kind of go, let's just pull all the other stems down and let the orchestra take this one home. Yeah. And it worked.
And I love hearing that, and kind of, you always hear the criticism of just like, oh, the action movies, they don't have themes and motifs and melodies anymore. But like, I mean, when you get to do something like that with Dave, and you get to you have Kiss's stuff, you have your stuff, and then you get to do this big bombastic, just like theatrical, almost operatic.
Operatic for sure.
Is, I think, the great word for it. And when you listen to it on the album, I mean, all the emotion is there. Like, I mean, I'm getting chills. I was driving down here listening to it. So,
bless you. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a weird thing when you you're constantly surrounded by it, and you score it, and you've got that fucking riff in your head 24/7. Iconic riff, but there comes a time where you just want to get rid of it.
I know. It reminds me when I talked to Jeff Zanelli, who did the Lone Ranger, the William Tell Overture sequence. He worked on it for like 8 months, and he's like, I want to. Right. The melody is just like.
So you finish it, and you kind of, you go through mix and mastering, and you go, like, I turned to Dan and I went, is there too much fucking Kiss in this score? Is it the soundtrack, or is it me going to bed and it's still going? And so we took a bit of time away from it. And no, I think it's a really good blend of everything, and it really does push the story forward. And it was his North Star the whole time. Yeah. And I guess we tried to get him off it for a bit, but he stayed strong, and thankfully he did, because it works so well. And as I say, that first cue I did, he was like, yes, that's it. That works pretty great. Yeah. Let's keep going. Let's put it elsewhere. At this point, we didn't fucking know if we could even use it.
Right. You didn't clear the rights yet.
No, we didn't have any permission to do any. Like, we had the licensing of the song.
Right.
We did not have permission to start taking it apart and using it as a score.
Wow.
And we just went, well, we don't have anything, so fuck it, let's do it. And it turned out fine. And the Kiss guys were great, and
Yeah.
whoever deals with all that stuff on that side of things were perfect to work with. So,
Absolutely, yeah. I'm sure they'll enjoy the royalties.
yeah, the dollar
Yeah,
signs would be great. Yeah, who am I kidding? Of course they were fine.
Yeah, stuffing Paul and Jean's pockets.
I don't have to do anything, and I'm just gonna take it.
Yeah,
We'll
go for it.
No, but it was a very unique, crazy experience that I think works great, and I've had some lovely feedback.
Oh man,
From people I don't know, and I've had little bits and bobs, like people within the industry saying that they like Violent Night and Rabbits and Bullet Train, but not like fucking random people just going, "Hey, I really love this thing."
Yeah.
And that's so cool.
Yeah,
it makes you feel
cool.
so good.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
as a storyteller, you want to tell stories and you want to connect with other people, strangers, random people, and put it out in the world and see what comes back. And I'm sure that feedback is like,
Yeah,
other than
ultimately-
making Dave light up like that.
No,
on the
that's
cage,
always-
which
that's
is
a-
what I
yeah.
think what a composer's probably like.
Yeah.
Yes. So when
Yeah,
your
yeah,
director
yeah.
just goes, and you're like, I did it.
yeah, that is
But
great.
having the public feedback.
But
like
just
that,
just the people that go watch the movie, they've got nothing to do with film music. They've got nothing to do
Yes.
with film, and they message you and they go, "Oh, I really like your song. Or I really like the score. It's cool."
Yeah.
Um,
And my wife is one of those people who's not. I mean, she's into it because I'm.
Right,
She's surrounded because
yeah.
of me. But like we were listening, and she's like, "This song is great." I'm like, "Yeah, Dom wrote this." He's like, "Oh, this is amazing!" Like,
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That's great. But you get like, I remember, I think I hit you up, or maybe you told me about it, that when Giacchino tweeted about Violent Night, like, great job. That's also fucking cool.
Yeah, when your colleagues.
Yeah, and
yeah.
someone of that stature, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, that's pretty great too. But yeah, just like the movie-going public, that's what we're doing it for.
Yeah.
So that's been pretty cool over the last couple of days. I'm sure everyone's really fucking tired of hearing and seeing Fall Guy on my stories. I'm just like milking it for all
Well,
it's worth.
your boy Ryan here has been on every talk show flipping and doing stunts.
That's true. Yeah.
But no.
And people would much rather see that than
No, post
me.
the stories, man. Like I think you need to celebrate your work. You worked. I mean, I remember when I flew out here before I even moved back, and I came down. I crashed one night here, just hanging out, and you were still in the midst of it. I think. And,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
And
yeah,
just
yeah.
like it's such a long. People don't realize like it's 2 hours for you. It's like 2 years for some people. Directors who work on these movies, and it's so much work. And the passion. Like I mean, I work in production as well outside of doing this stuff, and it's just like I love hanging out with storytellers and creative people because, like, I mean, I don't know. It's just we're all making sense of life together, exploring all this stuff, and I think it's a beautiful thing. Like you're creating something, throwing it out there. It connects with somebody that you've never met before, and it's that weird human connection like that. Like I don't know. That's what I fell in love with when I was little. Like I'm listening to something that somebody I've never met, but it's like affecting me in a way.
But I think that's the movie too.
The movie too,
The movie
because
is like.
The music on its own is one thing, but it has.
Yeah,
That's why
you know,
film scores
there's-
are different than any other piece of music.
It's really cool for me to be part of something that's being accepted
yeah,
like it is. You do so much stuff that is either not everyone's cup of tea,
Yeah.
or is shit, or whatever it might be. But this is very much a crowd pleaser, and it's made
pleasing
for
crowds.
audiences. It's made for everyone. Everyone can find something in it.
You won the audience over, but you also won the critics over, which is never a guarantee.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
It's hard, especially with so much style and
Yeah.
and flair that Dave has. It's even harder to do that with a blockbuster. So
Yeah, I always say people who get paid for their opinions don't go watch it.
Go watch it.
Let's just have
literally go and watch it, please.
Please feed Dom and go watch it.
Well, domestic doesn't feed me, but if you're in Europe, then go watch it. That feeds me and my children.
He's from Europe. He's a European citizen.
No, I don't get anything from domestic box
Really?
office. Zilcho.
There's no royalties for. Is it
Nope.
because you're
No, it's just the way that the business is set up. No one does.
No one does.
No, unless you've worked in box office bumps, which are rarer and rarer these days.
Interesting. I didn't
You
even know
don't. Yeah, nothing.
that.
US.
So even the actors? Like
Oh, the actors do. I'm
okay,
talking about
but
the,
just like below the
little
line.
old us.
Yeah.
Yeah, the composers don't get anything from US box office.
That's crazy.
So outside the US, you know what to do.
Gracias.
Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, no, I feel
Arigato.
very lucky to be a part of this movie, and to to get the approval of Dave and Kelly, and I
Yeah.
hope I get to work with them all the time.
I know. I mean, you guys formed an awesome creative partnership, and I hope, I love seeing when directors find their composers and go on these, creative journeys together. So I hope it continues, for years to come. Because I think you guys, you found your people.
They are my people. It's a really wonderful experience.
Yeah. I know Dave was almost, or just for like 2 days in talks to do Jurassic Park, and it didn't go through. But I'm sure, whatever is meant to be is meant to be. Dave will,
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You know what? I think it all works out for the best with that stuff. Yeah. He's just too creative and different in such a great way I think to be doing Jurassic Park.
Yes. I agree. I agree with that too.
So I think
you're making a studio's film. You're not making your own film.
The more movies he can do where he brings his shit to the table, that's the success.
Yeah, his voice is unique enough where I think
as great as the original IPs that he's done are, he'll be the first to tell you that everyone's like, I love Atomic Blonde, I love Bullet Train, I love The Fall Guy. Those original things that he's doing and bringing to the table, that's where it's at.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think I'm not going to go on some
tangent
about box office and how it's slightly frustrating that this weekend or whatever. I think it's got nothing to do with the product.
No, not at all.
It's to do with the times, and we just kind of have to accept that people are lazy, and like the industry is changing, and it's changed.
Yeah, I know. We could talk for.
We really could.
In my opinion, because I hate when the studio, as someone who works in the studio system, when they say like, "Oh, it's a changing consumer behavior." I'm like, no, you did this.
Yes, right.
Nobody did this except you guys.
Right.
You saw Netflix and were like, oh,
shiny.
I want that too. And then one's like, everyone built their walls up and like, let's go to war.
I don't think it's all studios. I think I've read so many things this weekend on like all kinds of different viewpoints of why it's happened and this and that, and I just think it's so much harder when you don't have an existing IP, and it's frustrating. You get people complaining, we don't want any more superhero movies, and we don't want this, and we don't want that, and then a great movie comes out,
and people are like,
not enough people, according to the people that say enough people went.
Yeah, so people are just like, what do you want? Tell me what you want.
Exactly. So I think you just have to draw a line and go, this is a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of what I did.
Yeah.
If people don't want to go see it.
No, I think honestly, I think people make so much fuss over numbers and everything, and we still have those big numbers in our head from the Marvel openings of $200 million. It was so unrealistic. Yeah. And it's just like not every movie needs to make $1 billion to be successful. And I think we are seeing a change in the industry where hopefully we get back to a point where something like Fall Guy was made between 100 and 150 million. It can do good business and have good legs and not have to make all its money in the first 3 days.
Right.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. Yeah. I really do. I think we need to shift our perception.
Yes.
And, again, it comes down to media and the way that it's all projected. And it's just like...
it did pretty good, but I mean, it still has legs. And even Universal...
It has legs. It did fine.
It's going to open in other markets and it's going to keep rolling out. And then, of course, so many people find it on home video these days, too, which is not a bad thing either. I mean, people... You're competing with so many screens. Yeah, times have changed, certainly.
Completely. But and it's going to get, whatever word you want to use, it's going to get worse.
Worse, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it is.
It's going to keep, it's going to keep,
So all you can do is just keep making the best art you can.
Yes.
And not becoming a sheep and falling in line with the rest of, all the other tripe that gets rolled out.
I don't think it will also get, I think it won't get, maybe it will get worse, but I think it'll change too because I see people already having streaming fatigue. People are already having...
Yeah.
I mean... I do. Like, you're sitting at home and you have literally 7,000 things to watch and you can't find anything.
Totally.
And it's like...
The amount of people that said to me in the last week, oh, what TV shows are you watching right now? What are you into? And I'm like...
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Right.
I used to really look forward to going upstairs and watching a show with my wife and having that time with her. Now... When I've got the kids to bed, I'm like, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my sleep. I don't want to waste it on another show that's like, meh.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the studios are realizing the whole quality over quantity over quality.
No, they are. I mean, that's why they're not greenlighting stuff. And that's why there's still this kind of, strike hangover currently.
Contraction,
You know,
whatever
and
you
it's
wanna
not
call it.
just. It's a lot of colleagues of mine are feeling it.
Yeah,
And
we
like,
all
are you in? Are you? And it's like, yeah, it's a little shit right now, but it'll pick up again.
It will. And I am hopeful. I mean, I see it too. I see it. Just driving here, I've seen way more production trucks like filming, and I think it is picking back up. And I'm in animation, and we're seeing some, some traction and stuff like that. So I think it'll people want it still.
Yeah.
Not just, we don't want to sit and just watch TikToks all day. People do want to watch stories and be in
They do.
love with characters
They do.
and stuff like
They
that.
do.
Yeah.
I think that, for everyone down the line, from studio execs to, the violinists, I think it's really important that we keep trying, at least. You know?
Yeah.
You can only try.
I know. No one's going to quit. I mean, this is the stuff dreams are made of.
It is. No, it is. It really is.
And we talked about in the past, like we don't have to do this. We get to do this type thing.
Yeah.
Where it's like you get to do this. I mean, look at this. Like,
I
you
know.
get to freaking make this fucking awesome movie.
I know. I know.
And,
it's so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm extremely grateful. As I say, I'm just glad that people aren't like, oh, what the fuck is this shit?
Never.
It's nice. No, I mean, maybe.
No, everything you've done, man, like, it resonates with an audience. I think you pick great projects and you get to work with great filmmakers. And I know I've been getting to document your stuff, like to talking or being in your sessions. And I'll text you anytime some new YouTube comment comes.
Oh, that's true. You're very sweet.
Even if it's something from Goosebumps, like from years ago, people are like, "Oh my god, I love this." I'm like, "Look, people are still finding it, still discovering it."
That Goosebumps comment was nice.
Yeah.
That was a fun one too. I mean, I always find fun in it. It's afterwards, as you say, it's fucking writing music for movies. It's what I dreamed about.
Movies.
So it's always nice to just be working on stuff.
Yeah.
It makes you realize, like, after the strike, I was like, fuck. People are like, oh, it's taking a break. It's nice, right? No, it's not nice.
It's not nice.
This is like me.
I don't need my thoughts.
Fuck that. I don't want that shit.
I don't need to think about my own existence. I want to tell stories.
Seriously, though, I can do like 10 days, 2 weeks, and I'm like, fucking, I want to work so bad.
Yeah.
I want to work. Get me work.
Get this man a Bond film now.
Oh, seriously. Are we opening up that? Is this my chance to...
All right, pick Barbara Broccoli.
Yeah, Barbara Broccoli. No. That's the dream.
I know.
Maybe Dave will do a Bond movie.
Oh, that could be
That'd
awesome.
be fucking cool, wouldn't it?
I mean, it is known for stunts. I mean, Bond is known for stunts.
Hello. That would be
Even
sick.
though it's an American director, we got English composer, so.
There's been plenty of American directors doing Bond, hasn't there? No?
I'm trying to think.
Who did the last one?
Carrie. Fukuji. Yeah.
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 Not English.
Not English, yes.
And
Mr. Hans, a German man, but he's
an honorary Brit.
He's honorary
English.
English.
No.
He has
We'll give him that. No, that is a dream. Along with a Second World War movie. Maybe Bond in the Second World War. Killed two birds with one stone.
There you go.
Yeah. No, I love action, but I'd like to be doing other stuff too.
Yeah. And I think again, you're still in it. You're still young. You're still doing this stuff. You act like I'm an old man, but no, you got.
It's because I feel like one.
I mean, yeah, we all do. But like, I literally woke up this morning, my shoulder's hurting. I'm like, damn it, I can't go to the gym today.
That's every morning for me. I wake up like,
why did I sleep like this?
Tendonitis there now. Okay, I'm there. Okay, I might as well get. I'm like the fucking Tin Man.
Yeah.
It's like,
squeak.
yes, seriously,
Oiling my joints.
Terrible.
I need my omega-3s to lube them up.
I need to do that. Actually, I don't take omega-3.
There you go. No, let's go
Thanks,
vitamin
doctor.
shopping after this. Well, Dom, I think we've.
We're wrapping up. No.
Okay. I think we've talked so much about. I mean, let's let the people go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can leave now if you haven't left already.
No, I'm sure we'll be talking again very soon. I'm sure. So.
Hope so. I need some work. Did I say that enough?